Welcome to Unit 11 of EDSE 512. You'll see that Unit 11 is a 1-week unit, and in this unit we're doing another very important case study assignment, which is actually part 4. After this 1-week unit, we'll move into Unit 12, which is the final unit of our course. And you'll see that the only work submission requirement in Unit 12 is the discussion. So really, this case study part 4 assignment, the intervention plan here in Unit 11, is the last major course assignment that we'll be doing. And it is fairly intensive. You're building upon everything that you worked on in case study part 3 for your IEP. So do review the feedback plays that you received on that IEP with the scoring process. Reach out to me, of course, as always, with any questions, because that feedback will help you to develop a stronger case study part 4 if there's anything that needs to be adjusted. So for Unit 11, you'll do case study part 4. Moving into Unit 12, we'll have a discussion. We're going to talk about some ethical components and the implementation of the IEP, and then the course will close. And remember this little final note here in italics, late submissions cannot come in after that final date of the course. So get in touch with me if you're running late on anything, please, so that we can get a good plan in place now. Unit 11, we're talking about implementation of the IEP also, and we'll hit on some points about designing an intervention plan, and that specially designed instruction is a big part of the case study part 4 assignment for 80 points, which will be included in our work this week. There is an IRIS module here working on helping students to become independent learners. Strongly recommend that you review that IRIS module along with others on the website, such as this one, Learning Strategies to Enhance Student Learning. This will be valuable for you as you develop strategies that you'll suggest within your case study part 4 assignment. So working on this might help you to prepare for that too. So set some time aside earlier in the unit to review those IRIS modules, as well as this information on specifically or specially designed instruction and various strategies. Okay, so you'll see a diagram here with some really good examples, and these might build from the IEP work that you've done, the accommodations that you have in place, and you'll see lists here for high-yield instructional strategies. This is great information as a springboard. You can then research these further and cite those sources as you research them and develop your plan for case study part 4. So remember, specially designed instruction is specific to the child. Obviously, that's where the specifically or specially word comes from, or individualized in the IEP. Specially designed instruction is not related to a particular physical place or location. It's not related to the schedule or what the child is doing, and it's not an excuse for a lack of rigorous instruction or a lack of high standards. So we talked a lot about that in setting goals, and we're going to be pulling that in here too, the concept of rigorous grade level expectations and really making that general education curriculum appropriate and accessible for students in alignment with free appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment. You'll see a continuum example there. Please do review that. And information here again on accommodations versus modifications. This did come up pretty frequently in the IEP assignments where we were struggling to differentiate between the two. So this is a good list to review. Modifications would be changes to the curriculum itself. So you're changing the content that the child is working on and the standards or the ideas that are being assessed for the child. Accommodations would be adjustments to delivery or the option for output of knowledge and learning information. Okay, so we did cover that in previous units. You can review back there along with IEP procedural manual. That's another good source. And then this list as well for reminders about the difference between accommodations and modifications. More information here regarding lesson planning. We will be using lesson planning as a part of our case study assignment. So you'll have some good structures here that you can reflect upon, and there will be templates provided to you within that assignment. This page addresses managing specially designed instruction, and we're really talking through the goals and how these will be implemented. This kind of planning will be valuable for you regardless of your role, whether that's in center-based teaching, significant support needs, or whether it's in mild, moderate, or intervention instruction. Okay, so really looking at the IEP goals, we're trying to break these down and move them into course delivery, content delivery, general education. So this little visual here will remind you, we're looking at the impact of the student's disability, so always building off of the needs. What is general education, and what is our plan to support the student in accessing general education content and curriculum to the maximum extent appropriate? And this plan will address content, methodology, and delivery of instruction. So really minding, what are we teaching? Is there adaptation going on, or is there any modification? And then looking at the method and the delivery of that instruction. So what are we doing to give this information to the child? We have a really nice example, number 1, and another one here, number 2, number 3, provided to you. Any adaptations? Many of them you'll see none, because we don't have modifications to the actual content. But then what kind of methodology, evidence-based practice are we using for the child, and how exactly are we adjusting the delivery? What are we providing to the student to support their understanding of the class content? So you'll go down and continue to see several examples. Sometimes you'll just see one evidence-based methodology. Other times you'll see several. And delivery may have a longer or a shorter list depending upon the student and their needs. Here's a manual document that you can download to help you get started. So this will provide you with some other suggestions and ideas related to accessibility. This is a lengthy document, so obviously you won't have to read all of it, but you can browse it, see how the information might be helpful to you in your planning. Finally, here's the intervention plan, case study part 4. There is an MP4 video here for you, recorded already within the course shell to walk you through this assignment. But bottom line, I'll move down here. Obviously, the rubric and the prompt are always your best guides. The video will supplement that. Your submission, there are 4 parts to it, okay? So part 1 is the matrix. A blank matrix is given to you here. Part 2, the first lesson plan, which will be the inclusive general education lesson plan. Part 2, which will be the, it can be a small group setting lesson plan. The video will go over this, but there are 2 different types. So you can see here at least one will be adaptation of a gen ed lesson, and then the other one can be taught in a one-on-one setting or a small group setting. Could be taught in general ed or special education classroom, but this will be that more targeted, smaller, or one-on-one lesson versus the adaptation and supportive general education lesson. So you'll be tying in all of those components that you've been working on for the student, building off of the IEP that you developed. That's why case study part 3 was so important. So do check out the feedback that you got. And then rationale is the final part. You will have to cite sources in APA format. That's 7th edition. And there will be at least 3 references in that rationale to support and identify that the strategies that you have selected are evidence-based. And those are the strategies that you incorporated in the lesson planning. And so the matrix template, lesson plan, blank forms, templates are included here. And then there is a note here regarding color coding to identify which professional is responsible for which area. So that's an option that has worked well for some people. The rubric is quite detailed, so please review that as you submit to make sure that we're all on track. And that is the last major assignment for our course. Please reach out with any questions. I look forward to reviewing your work.